Thank you for joining us today for our CAHME information session. The goal of the session today is to just kind of familiarize you with the CAHME accreditation process, inform you on the tools that we have to support you, the faculty and staff that we have to support you, and what value it can bring to your programs. My name is Melissa Cross, and I'm the Associate Vice President with CAHME, and I kind of help run all of our education sessions here that help support our programs also going through the process. So presenting today, we have Al Faber, who's our current interim president and CEO, Stacy Rowand, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and Tisha Menser, who is the Manager of Program Development. And then just a quick thank you to our corporate partners, award sponsors, donors, and underwriters. Without their generous support, we would not be able to do many of the things that we do with CAHME. So we want to always thank them for all their generosity and support in helping us advance the quality of healthcare management education. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Al to start our presentation today.
Hey, thanks, Melissa. First of all, I'd like to start off by thanking all of you for tuning in today, taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about CAHME and what it is we offer and what it is we can do to help you in accomplishing your mission. I can't start this presentation without giving my deepest appreciation, admiration, and thanks to Stacy, Tisha, and Melissa for putting this all together. They've taken a great deal of time to put together a thoughtful presentation and to answer hopefully all of your questions. The more that you engage with them and ask questions, the more you will get out of this presentation here today. So feel free to stop us at any time and to learn more. First of all, I want to talk off a little bit about CAHME. It was established in 1968 as the Accrediting Commission on the Graduate Education for Hospital Administration, but later evolved into the Commission on the Accreditation for Healthcare Management Education, or CAHME, to reflect the expanding scope of healthcare management education beyond just hospital administration. So our mission is to work with all of you and to help you advance the quality of healthcare management education by agreeing to measurable standards, accrediting programs that prepare healthcare leaders for tomorrow with the necessary skills, knowledge, and ethical foundations to excel in a dynamic healthcare environment. And that's critically important. And it's critically important because we're going through this process right now of deploying our new standards. And those standards were developed and agreed to with all of you out in the field. Everybody had input that wanted input into the new standards and to offer us your perspective so that we could take that all in and develop a better, stronger set of standards by which to measure ourselves. So thank you for all of that. The next thing I want to talk about is CHIA, and CAHME is recognized by CHIA, the Council on the Higher Education Accreditation, and it accredits we accredit more than 160 programs across the U.S. and now internationally. Together, we work to drive excellence in healthcare education, leading to better prepared for professionals and improved healthcare outcomes. CAHME accreditation empowers programs to reach new levels of quality, credibility, and impact. Our practitioner academic model, and that's important to emphasize, both practitioners and academics. Our model is designed to provide valuable external insights, helping you to recognize your strengths and identify opportunities for growth. CAHME accreditation is about continuous improvement by helping you meet the highest standards and deliver exceptional value. When pursued with this mindset, accreditation becomes a powerful tool for success. Once you are accredited, you are recognized by the entire healthcare community, and CAHME accreditation sets your graduates apart. Graduates from CAHME accredited programs are able to access fellowship and career opportunities and scholarships. If your students are in the military, this opens up approaches for reimbursement as well as career options. For program directors, it also opens up a vast, diverse community to help you network and benchmark for success. CAHME's role is to foster and promote continuous quality improvement through accountability, attaining the highest academic standards, and offering benchmarking tools for you to learn from others and achieving excellence by setting the gold standard for quality in healthcare management, education, and guiding programs. By pursuing CAHME accreditation, your program joins a community of dedicated to quality, collaboration, learning, and continuous improvement. Together, we ensure graduates are prepared for your mission and your mission is advanced and your program's value is recognized across the entire healthcare field. So again, everything we do here at CAHME is with you in mind, your programs in mind, and your success in mind. And the most that we can get out of this together is by constant and thorough, regular communication back and forth. So please stay engaged with us and consider CAHME accreditation. So now I'm going to turn it over to Tisha, who's going to discuss the accreditation process and timeline.
Thank you. So my name is Tisha Menser. I'm the manager of program development here at CAHME. So I primarily focus on the programs who are just entering into the process. So I will be your point of contact as you enter in. We're going to walk through the timeline for accreditation because I think that's a big question that programs have and they want to know what they're getting into. So we'll start off here with the eligibility statement. And this is completed in CAHME's accreditation management portal, also known as CAMP. This is a brief overview of your program designed to confirm that you meet CAHME's basic criterion to apply for accreditation. This actual statement is narrative light. It should be pretty quick to put together. And then once it's submitted to CAHME, our management will review it and provide you a decision within 5 to 7 business days. So from there, you'll move on to the candidacy application. This is more in depth, and it covers only select standards from the total self-study criteria that give us a high-level look at your program, who you are, how you operate, and how you meet accreditation standards. Unlike the eligibility statement, this step requires time to gather data, write a narrative, as well as compile evidence to support your narrative. Given this, the time frame between eligibility statement and candidacy application is very much self-directed and dependent on the program, but the average is about 5 months. After you submit your candidacy application, the candidacy committee, which is made up of both academics and practitioners, review your application and determine if your program is ready to move forward. Within 1 week of their meeting, you will receive a notification from me of their decision. And then if approved, you'll be assigned a suggested self-study year and a tentative site visit date. And at that time, you will be deemed a candidate program. Once you enter into candidacy, the major next step is your self-study year. So like I said, the candidacy committee will give you an assigned self-study year, and typically that is aligns with the upcoming academic year. So during this time, the program will work through all of the accreditation criterion, compiling your narratives and evidence within CAMP, and then at least 8 weeks before the scheduled site visit, all materials must be submitted for review. If you'd like to discuss a more individualized plan for this and a timeline specific to your program, please feel free to reach out to me and we can walk through that. Okay, so the site visit then follows, and it's an in-depth evaluation conducted by a team of CAHME site visitors. Again, this team is comprised of both practitioners and academics. This visit at this time lasts 3 days and takes place in either the fall or the spring following the completion of your self-study year. The team will review submitted materials, meet with program leadership, faculty, students, and alumni, and assess whether the program meets accreditation standards. Following the site visit, the review team compiles a report which is presented to the Accreditation Council for evaluation. If approved, the recommendation then moves to CAHME's Board of Directors for final approval. This process typically takes about 6 months, ensuring that a thorough review is conducted before an accreditation decision is made. And like I said, if you would like a more in-depth, individualized plan and timeline, or you have questions about the process or the schedule of fees, you can put a comment in the chat, or you can email me at tmenser@cahme.org to schedule a time to talk. And I'll go ahead and go into resources, staff resources, then I'll pass it off to Stacy to go over our technical resources. So as I said, I'm the manager of program development, and I work with programs that are entering into the accreditation process. So from eligibility into when you are deemed a candidate program. And then at that time, I pass you off to our accreditation team, which is comprised of Eric Brichto, our Chief Accreditation Officer, and Amanda Groh, who is my equivalent on the accreditation side. And then I will let Stacy go over some of our technical resources.
Thanks, Tisha. Hi, everyone. I'm Stacy Rowan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at CAHME. So I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of a live demo here on our CAHME website. So first, I want to show you some resources on the website that would be helpful to you to take a look at as part of this process. There's a lot of information on this website, so I just want to highlight a few different things. So first, if you go to the accreditation tab, there is a page that's called the Getting Started page. So this is going to show a lot of what you're seeing in this presentation, which are the accreditation steps and additional resources that you can find throughout the website to support you in those areas. There's a nice video on here that kind of shows you the timeline, and then you can step through here to see what each step of the accreditation process looks like and the resources that you're going to need for that step. And then up here in the top right, there is a resources tab. There's a lot of information in here, but this is where a bulk of our supporting documents can be found. If you go to the accreditation resources tab, you're going to see our self-study handbook, our policies and procedures, information on our candidacy process, things like that. As well as there's within this resources tab, there's now this 2026 standards page as well. So this page is a new page. It's going to be continuously updated. As Al mentioned, we are rolling out new standards. They're called the new 2026 standards. They were approved in October by our board of directors. And so right now we are in a phase of pilot programs piloting these new standards, but programs with a 2026-2027 self-study and beyond will be using these new 2026 standards. So that would be something that we suggest that you take a look at because these would be the standards that your program would be using. Some other information on the website. If you go to the now I'm moving around, sorry. The Mentorship Circle tab here under Resources. So we have something that's called the CAHME Mentorship Circle. And the idea of this is to pair a program that feels that it may need additional guidance with a designated CMC mentor program. And this program will help your program offer support, answer questions, and provide feedback throughout the accreditation process. And then also within here, we have the Core Learning Center. So the CAHME Core Learning Center is streamlined access to accreditation education through an online learning system. So the goal is to provide supplemental learning opportunities on popular accreditation topics and challenges that our programs have. So this is a tool that is additional to our typical education, and it will help programs to decrease their partially METs and not METs. And it will provide up to 5 users for your program access to all content and training sessions for 1 full year. A major component of our CLC, our Core Learning Center, is something called the Enhanced Benchmarking Tool, where you have access to program site visit report narratives to help your program with process improvement and in completing your own self-study. And last, we have the Media and Events tab. So if you go to the events page here, you're going to see everything that we have going on at CAHME. These are going to be things like webinars that we're hosting, submission deadlines, our board of director meetings, and different training sessions. Through this page, you can access the ability to register for any upcoming events that we may have, and we certainly recommend that you do so. In the spring, there'll be a lot of new training sessions coming up on the new standards. So you'll be seeing communications coming out about that, but also come to this page and you'll be able to get a little bit more information about that there. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is an additional resource that we provide to programs who are going through the accreditation process. Depending on the state that your program is within what we call our CAHME life cycle, you get access to various reports that are built to help your program. So as part of the CAHME accreditation cycle requirements, we require all programs to submit something called an annual report. So this report ensures continued compliance with CAHME standards, and it monitors things such as recruitment data, student demographics, graduation rates, outcomes, and graduate satisfaction. So in addition to helping us make sure that you're meeting accreditation requirements with this annual report, we have chosen to use the data from these annual reports to help support program improvement. So we have developed 5 unique programs that analyze annual report data, providing programs with insights into their strengths and areas for improvement. These reports are known as the CAHME C-Suite. And our goal with the C-Suite is to help our programs create a mission-focused, data-driven strategic plan with the help of these reports. We think that the information in this report you will find extremely valuable in your program strategic planning process. So the C-Suite is composed of 5 unique reports. The first one is called C Benchmarks. If you have been around CAHME for a little while, this was also previously known as CARB, so it has been renamed to C Benchmarks. This report allows you to benchmark your program's annual report data against a user-chosen peer group. You are able to compare your program's data to the peer group's data for all areas of the annual report, which would include things like tuition, credit hours, faculty to student ratios, and satisfaction. The next report is known as C Trends. So this currently looks at a 3-year trend in annual report data. Next year, it will be a 4-year trend for a chosen peer group. You can look at your program's data and see how it tracks within the trends for all annual report fields. You will see how CAHME programs are trending in regard to important things such as, again, tuition and credit hours, and see how your program compares to those trends. C Faculty is a report that's going to look at detailed faculty characteristics, again, for a user-chosen peer group. You will be able to analyze faculty characteristics by program size and see how your program compares. You will be able to look at years of experience for your defined peer group, as well as areas of expertise per faculty. The goal here is for you to be able to see how your faculty complement compares to those of your peer programs. Then we have the C Comp report. So this report gives total faculty compensation based on faculty status, contract length, and public-private university status. This report allows you to see how faculty from other institutions are being compensated. This report does use a cost of living index to normalize all data to ensure that the comparisons are all accurate. And lastly, we have the C Peers report. So this report shows you how the top 10 compared peer programs to your program are based on the public users of CAHME's advanced search tool. If you go to CAHME.org, you will see a little yellow sticky on pretty much every page of the website. And if you click on that, that takes you to CAHME's advanced search tool. We get over 1,000 unique users a month to this tool. And this tool is being used by a variety of public users, but especially by students to see what CAHME accredited programs are available to them and how they may fit into what they are looking for. So this data based on these public users is then pulled into a report to see how often your program is being compared to others and what those programs are. This is going to help you define who your peer groups are based on those commonly, accessed reports and trends on the advanced search tool. So all of these, I go into a lot more detail on these. That was a very high overview of the reports, but there is a suite of webinars that is available on our website if you go to CAHME.org/webinars. And these are all pre-recorded webinars. And you can take a look at those, but also I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have on any of the reports and how they can help your program. You certainly don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I think that's it. So now I'm going to hand it off to Melissa Cross to talk about CAHME Bootcamp.
Just wanted to bring to your attention, we are hosting an in-person event that's Sunday before ACHE. If anyone is planning to attend or is just interested in attending to learn more about the accreditation process, especially starting to implement the new 2026 standards. This is a good opportunity to see kind of how to map out your program and align the new standards, kind of using like a case study example. Stacy will be there and Tisha kind of presenting along with a few other fellow CAHME people that we have used along the way. So that's kind of like the schedule of events. A ticket does include a seat at the CAHME Awards Luncheon, which is a really nice way to celebrate the programs and students and some of their accomplishments, as well as a good networking event with your peers and colleagues from within the healthcare realm. So if you were interested in purchasing a ticket or learning more, I will pop that link in the chat as well, or you can kind of go to CAHME.org/bootcamp. It is also on our website. So if you are interested in starting the accreditation process, this might be a really good in-person chance to kind of get some face-to-face time with CAHME faculty and other people who are accredited with CAHME or also in the same position as you starting the accreditation process. So if you needed any more information about that, you can reach out to me. My contact is on the bootcamp page, also on the CAHME website as well. One thing I also wanted to mention too, just to kind of go back to what Stacy was talking about, the mentorship program. Tisha and I kind of work together on that. So if you are starting the accreditation process and do feel overwhelmed because it is a lot of information, we do have a really strong set of mentorship programs who have been involved in the process for a really long time, who are really willing to help out initial programs. They've been through it all. They've been through the standards changes and everything else and starting programs. So what you would kind of do is submit your eligibility statement. And when we kind of go through that, then Tisha and I can work with you to find a program that would best match your program needs. So Tisha has a little form that you would kind of fill out so we can kind of pair you with a similar program. So not something would be like an MBA with MHA. So it would make sure we paired you up with someone that matched your needs as well. So it's a really good resource. Doesn't cost anything extra, but it's just something that these programs are willing to offer you as supplemental help along the way. And then Tisha, you also forgot to mention your CPR sessions, which are a really great support system as well. I'll let you speak to this. I don't have to speak for you, but that's a really good set of education sessions. So I'll let her tell you about that.
Sure. So we put on what we call CPR, candidacy process roundtables, which are open for questions and discussion. But we line them up with the due dates for candidacy. So the candidacy applications have two due dates per year. October 1st and March 1st are the current dates. And we set up our CPR sessions to align with those so that you can work along with us and then have your application ready for one of those submissions. So we do 1 to 3 of the standards in each session. And then we hope you do your homework and come back in the next session and ask your questions. And it's great because there are so many programs going through it at the same time. And while they may not be exactly the same as you, they have great questions that can get everybody thinking. And we can talk through those. And again, it's a good networking event as well.
Yes, and Tisha, you're very modest, but she does a really good job of meeting individually with the programs too along the way for additional support and reviewing applications and things like that. So she does a really heavy lift in the beginning of this process here to kind of help you through and getting to candidacy and answering all your questions. So we just wanted to make sure that you feel supported in each phase of the process here. So it's not like you just submit your application and then you never hear from us. We wanted to just make you aware of the timeline, who's kind of like the point of contacts. And on our website too, Stacy just did this really nicely on our leadership for the CAHME faculty. You can kind of see who you can thanks, Stacy, and the about. And you can kind of see there's so many different realms and pieces of CAHME who you would kind of reach out to what. So you can get a better idea of like if you did have specific questions, like anything finance or fees related would be Melissa Sanseverino, Tisha, as you'll see there. So it kind of lays out who you would contact for what, because there are a large number of us who are kind of in our own realms of things. So this is kind of a good place to start to. If you did have specific questions, that's where you would go to reach out to us individually. So that was kind of the bulk of our presentation. I know we kind of threw a lot of information at you here. We wanted to kind of open it up for questions. You can utilize the chat feature or feel free to just unmute yourself, but we're here to answer any of your questions. And also after the session too, if you don't feel comfortable, feel free to reach out to your main point of contact initially would definitely be Tisha. So if you wanted to start the process or just have any questions like, is my program ready? Would you mind kind of going through some of these things with me? She is definitely your main point of contact to kind of start the process. And this is not to scare you. Hopefully it's just to kind of make you more aware and comfortable in starting the process with us. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away.
One of the main challenges at the institution finding support for CAHME accreditation is justifying expense and return on investment. And all the things listed here are fantastic and fabulous, but they are not enough for the administration to stand behind CAHME accreditation because they require some kind of data pool showing that CAHME accredited programs do have higher head counts, improved enrollments, better employment, and whatsoever. Do you have any kind of information like that can show on numbers, this story for the administration to help and move accreditation forward? Thank you.
Sure, I can jump in. You're not alone in expressing this. This is something that we face pretty frequently with programs. And we do currently have some data that we have to support. We are in the process, though, of working to strengthen that data and make sure that it is updated. So I do have some points that I usually provide for programs as they're, defending this to their upper leadership. But like I said, we're working on strengthening that and updating our data as well.
Are you able to send that to her?
I can, yeah. I'm happy to send you what we have at this time.
I don't see any other questions, so I don't want to keep you guys here any longer. Thank you for joining us again today. Hopefully, we were able to ease your mind a little bit more about starting the process potentially, or be able to answer some questions. Again, don't feel free to reach out after this if you have any questions that arise, especially after viewing all this information. Again, as Stacy said, a good place to start is our website. If you do have questions, under the resources tab, the self-study guides there, the standards, if you wanted to kind of take a glance at those, and then even just any questions about what you would have to do to submit your eligibility, and does your program feel prepared to even start that process, so to start with Tisha. But thank you all for joining us today, and hopefully we hear from you soon.